What's up, space pirates? I am your captain, the dread pirate Dr. Disaster, and today we have to discuss a new rumor about the Ahsoka show which makes me cringe harder than Lizzo at a salad bar.
Please, sir, I want some more.
With the Disney earnings report geared up for later today, which will show us how many subscribers Disney Plus either lost or gained, and let's be honest, they probably lost a bunch, I think it's important that we look at this, another reason as to why the company has been doing so abysmally. But real quick, I wanted to apologize that you haven't seen me for the last week or so. We have had some internet problems in my neck of the woods, and it was like pulling teeth getting my provider to come out and replace my router. But we're back, baby, and ready to pounce on what I predict will be an entertainingly bad earnings report for Disney.
And may I add, mwah-ha-ha.
So back to this rumor about the Ahsoka show. It sounds like they are either going to be insinuating that Ahsoka was at Mustafar when Obi-Wan and Anakin fought each other, or they are going to be messing with the timeline from the original 6 films using the world between worlds. Frankly, either way, what this does for me is highlight the biggest problem with Ahsoka in the first place, which is that despite how much I liked her as a character in the Clone Wars, she kind of breaks continuity.
This is the worst!
Like I said, the whole idea is terrible on the face of it, and it brings out the cringe for me. With that said, do pop open some champagne and prepare the highest of high fives with your captain, because these sorts of ideas are precisely why Disney is falling apart right before our very eyes, and I think it's funny as hell to watch it. Alright, let's have a look at this Ahsoka rumor. This article comes to us from the Bespin Bulletin. Link in the description. The headline reads, Star Wars Ahsoka. Dead Obi-Wan Kenobi will reportedly feature in a fight scene between Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano on Mustafar.
That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. But what do I know? I'm just a Star Wars fan who always struggled with the existence of Ahsoka in the first place. Why the hell would they want to highlight the fact that it's weird she was never mentioned in the prequels at all? Why would they want to highlight a scene which she should have been in? If she existed, if she was ever a part of George Lucas's canon, she should have been there at Mustafar, but she wasn't, which highlights the fact that she's just kind of grafted onto the story. Well, let's read on and see what's up. The article says, yesterday, Making Star Wars took to his daily YouTube show and podcast, The Making Star Wars Show, where he discussed various pieces of news from this week, including the runtimes for the first 2 episodes of the Ahsoka series, Star Wars Jedi Survivor coming to PS4 and Xbox One, plus took questions from those in the chat. One question from a viewer promoted a discussion about a past report from Making Star Wars, which he released towards the tail end of last year, which detailed a confrontation between Ahsoka and Anakin on Mustafar set during the events of Revenge of the Sith. In a report from December, Making Star Wars shared that scenes were shot that featured Hayden Christensen in his Revenge of the Sith robes, and that Christensen had been in training for a fight scene between Anakin and Ahsoka on Mustafar. The Ahsoka Tano featured in the fight scene itself is a younger Ahsoka, as would be fitting for the time, and that a younger actress was used as Ahsoka for the shoot. The scene itself was reported to take place in the world between worlds as seen in Star Wars Rebels, where Ahsoka, played by Rosario Dawson, would see a possible vision or timeline that's meant to show her that Anakin falling to the dark side is part of Skywalker's destiny, and that there was nothing Ahsoka could do. The lesson for Ahsoka to learn during these scenes is that she cannot change destiny and that she must embrace it, no matter how hard or painful. Alright, time out. So, for years now, many have speculated that the Ahsoka show would have a lot to do with the world between worlds, and many have hoped that they would use the show as a means of retconning the sequel trilogy. But this makes it sound like they're shooting that idea down completely. It sounds to me like they're just conditioning us, like, oh hey look, you have to accept that these are the destinies of the characters. These are sacred things. The sequel trilogy is going to be sacred because, of course, you view the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy as sacred. It's like they're giving us the finger and saying, these are the characters' destinies, you have to deal with it, to which I have only one reply. And what kills me here is that really the only reason anyone would have to watch this show, after the disaster that the Mandoverse has become, other than sheer morbid curiosity, is the outside hope that they would remove the sequels from existence, that they were going to do something interesting with the world between worlds. But it sounds like they're going to shoot that down. On the one hand, I have to say, I don't like the idea of a multiverse being in Star Wars just like it is in DC and the MCU. It makes every conflict seem like a low-stakes affair, and it's just lazy. But on the other hand, I mean, come on, to hell with the sequels, am I right? Anything to get rid of them. But continuing on, the article says, now 8 months removed from his initial article, Making Star Wars briefly expanded on those scenes shot last year during his YouTube show and added that a dead Obi-Wan Kenobi was present for those scenes when they were being shot and that it was seemingly shot 2 ways. Making Star Wars revealed that one scenario featured Kenobi's corpse, which was a dummy, and another was a pile of clothes, similarly to what was seen in A New Hope following Kenobi's confrontation with Darth Vader, where he became one with the Force. You can read the quote from Making Star Wars below. They filmed a sequence where Ahsoka sees herself on Mustafar fighting Hayden Christensen's Darth Vader before he's in the suit. They are new scenes. They had a dummy for a dead Kenobi, and they had clothes for a dead Kenobi. They had 2 ideas there. One is Anakin literally kills Kenobi in that fight, where the idea would be Ahsoka and Kenobi confront Darth Vader. Another is he turns into a pile of clothes, just like he always did. He becomes one with the Force at that time in the narrative. Okay, that just proves that these people at Disney just don't know a damn thing about Star Wars. It doesn't make any damn sense. Obi-Wan hadn't learned the trick of how to become one with the Force yet. If you will remember, it was only at the end of Episode 3 that Yoda mentioned that he was communing with Qui-Gon and that Qui-Gon could teach Obi-Wan how to do this in the first place.
An old friend has learned the path to immortality.
And to be honest, I was never into this idea of having to train to become one with the Force. I liked the idea of this being an organic thing, just a natural thing that happened to those who were very highly attuned with the Force. But it is canon that Qui-Gon apparently learned it and hadn't yet taught it to Obi-Wan, so it doesn't make sense that he would be a pile of clothes if he died to Anakin in Mustafar, and this article acknowledges that. It says, as Making Star Wars went on, he added that the second option, the pile of clothes option, didn't make much sense to him. However, he did say that those 2 versions of a possible dead Obi-Wan Kenobi existed. They were filmed, but joked that the pile of clothes could have just been a placement marker, for all he knows. As the show progressed, making Star Wars urged viewers to remember that the fight scene between Anakin and Ahsoka on Mustafar likely isn't an extended sequence, and for fans to get their expectations in check. He compared the scene of Ahsoka traveling the world between worlds and seeing various possible timelines as Ahsoka walking down a hallway and looking into mirrors, meaning that though filming could have taken a significant amount of time, what appears on screen could simply be a few seconds. Fair enough, it's likely not going to be a major plot point, but I think it's silly to do this if you're Lucasfilm. One of the biggest complaints about Ahsoka, as I said, aside from her annoying behavior in the first few seasons, is the fact that she just doesn't belong to a lot of people. And this highlights that fact. This makes it seem like Dave Filoni just trying desperately to jam his square peg into a round hole, just like the special little kid he often seems like. But what do you think? Does this idea of Ahsoka being on Mustafar and fighting with Anakin, does it work for you? Why or why not? And are you excited for the Ahsoka show in general? Let me know in the comment section and we will talk some Star Wars. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.